Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to look at some of my favorite chords by the Japanese math rock band Toe. So we'll break down the shapes, I'll analyze them to teach you the music theory behind them, and we'll look at some chord progressions from some actual Toe songs. Also, if you missed last week's video on iconic Toe riffs, then be sure to check that out too. Without further ado, let's get into the chords. Our first shape is a sparkly major 7 chord built off the D string that goes 1, 3, 5, and 7. You might recognize this shape from the song Tremolo and Delay, which goes like that, just arpeggiating this chord. So one more time. And you also might recognize it from the song Kudoku no Hatsueme. Disclaimer, probably mispronounced that and will probably mispronounce most of the Japanese song titles. But it takes this exact same shape and just plays it off of B flat. And it uses this shape in order to create a riff. So the riff goes like this. So as you can see, we're really just centering around this B flat major 7 chord shape here. The beginning of the riff starts with this open D note though. So we could conceive of this chord as a B flat major 7 in first inversion with a D in the bass. So you could think about the sound like this, giving us another Toe-esque shape. So anyways, that's the first set of sounds here. We have the sparkly 1, 3, 5, 7 major 7 chords. All right, the next set of chords is based on the concept of taking a 6 minor sound and having it fall to a 4 add 9 sound. This first example is from a song that I honestly can't pronounce the title of, but I will post it in the video here so you can read it and you'll probably recognize the sound anyways. So this one starts with our 6 chord, which is an E minor 7 chord. And then we have this little inflection to a minor 9 sound, and then it falls to a C add 9 chord. So once again, we have E minor 7, and then this little inflection to E minor 9, and then C add 9. If you want to get really fancy and be more similar to what Toe does, you can take your high E string and raise it up to F sharp. So I could go like, and have that crunch there. So basically we have a really cool E minor 9 chord, and then I could have this fall to C add 9. So that's the first example. Now let's look at an example from another song. For this example, we are looking at Long Tomorrow, which does the exact same thing, where we have the 6 minor chord falling to the 4 add 9 sound. In this case, though, we are in the key of A major / F sharp minor, and our first chord is this really cool F sharp minor chord here, which transitions to this A major 7 chord. We have some little melody notes here, and then we go to this D add 9 sound. So really similar to the last song where we're falling into this add 9 chord here. Sounds very melancholic. So once again, we have F sharp minor, A major 7, little melody, and then D add 9. So once again, this is the 6 minor to add 9 concept. Let's move on now to the next set of shapes and songs. Moving on, let's take a look at the chords in the acoustic guitar intro of the song Goodbye. So this one starts with a brooding A major 7 chord, and then it moves to a nice B minor 11 sound, followed by an A major 7 over C sharp. So once again, we have A major 7, B minor 11, and then a first inversion A major 7 chord. So you might have noticed that they really like these first inversion shapes. They create a nice ambiguity. Now, there's a way to make this actually easier to play. So you can use a capo on the 2nd fret, which is actually how they do it, but I like to demonstrate things without a capo, just in case you don't have one. So if we put a capo on the 2nd fret, we can play these chords with actually 2 fingers. So I could go like this now to play the first chord. I could use these 2 fingers here to play the 2nd chord, and we take that exact same shape and move it up. So that's super easy if you have a capo. Anyways, let's move on to the next set of chords. Our next 2 shapes are a sus2 and major 7 sus2 sound coming from a little bit of a riff in the song 2 Moons. So it goes like this. So I think we can take this riff here and we can extrapolate some chords from it. So the first part, to me, represents a sus2 sound, which we can totally freeze and turn into a chord in order to create our own Toe sounding ideas and riffs. And if we take the next part of the riff here, So when I do the pull off here, to me that kind of represents another E major 7 sus2 sound. So once again, we have E sus2. Then if we take our pinky off, we add the 7. And we have E major 7 sus2. All right, these chords are from a song called Suki Kake. I might have pronounced that wrong. Hopefully not. Anyways, this first shape here is an E minor triad. And then we have a G major chord over B, so another first inversion triad thing. Then we have an A minor, classic A minor open chord. And then we have a G major 7 over B, so another inverted major 7 chord. Like I was saying earlier, they really love their inversions. Once again, E triad, G over B, A minor, and finally the inverted major 7 chord. So it's kind of like this chord here, but played as open notes, which always works well with fingerstyle stuff. Let's switch directions now to something a little more rock sounding. One of my favorite sets of chords is from a song called Path. In the middle of the song, there's this really great chord shot section that kind of goes like this. So these chords repeat. There's really nice space in between with lots of great guitar fills and drum fills and stuff like that. So once again, we have this first chord here, which is a D major chord over F sharp, so just a first inversion triad. Going to this G spread triad chord. Super nice. So I guess these are the closest thing they'll get to power chords in this kind of music. And then we go up to this part here, which goes kind of powering up a little bit. So again, we have some first inversion triads. So we go from a G chord to this A major over C sharp. So again, we have G major over B, A major over C sharp. So starting from the top, again, we have the initial shots, which are D major over F sharp. Then it goes to this G chord here, really nice. And then we have G over B, going to A over C sharp. So I really like these first inversion triads and spread triad chords. I use them all the time in my music, but they really make for great cathartic power chord type sounds. So definitely give them a go. So again, these were chords from the song Path. For our last set of chords, let's look at some beautiful cluster sounds from the song Music for You. So the first one is a C sharp minor 9 arpeggio, which sounds and looks like this. Our next chord is basically the same shape, but instead of C sharp in the bass, we have F sharp in the bass, which gives us an E major 7 sus2 over F sharp sound. So once again, we can rotate that with the C sharp minor 9 sound. And then we're back to the E major 7 sus2 sound, so on and so forth. So those are the shapes for today. Let's wrap things up with some quick conclusions, then we'll call it a day. So now that we've looked at the chords, let's dive into a few quick takeaways. First off, they definitely like their major 7 and their minor 7 sounds, but they don't use a whole lot of stock standard shapes. For example, they don't get into a whole lot of 7th chord shell voicings like these ones here, ones that you'll hear in the music of, say, Chon or other math rock groups as much. Even something like this major 9 shape here, they don't really use that a whole ton. At least in the examples that I looked at, we never saw a chord like that. Another example would be the drop 3 and drop 2 7th chords. So for example, something like this or something like this. Well, you might see these chords in a band like Clever Girl or something like that, or just another standard tuning-esque math rock band. Toe doesn't really use these kind of sounds for their major 7th chords specifically. They really like a lot of these root 3 5 7 voicings, or a first inversion major 7 chord, something like this one. Something like that, right? Or this sound right here. So they're really going for a lot of these unique seventh chord shapes that are maybe key specific or just sound really cool in and of themselves. And I think that's part of what makes them a really great band, that they have these unique sounds. Another thing too is that Toe really seems to build their riffs around some of the chords that they find. So for example, I think we had a chord like this one, right? And I feel like this is a chord that they can build a riff around since it has kind of a unique sound. So I think another Toe trope is that they will find a great chord and they'll build a riff around it, usually a 1 or 2 bar idea that kind of cycles around that sound. A final trope that I want to mention as well is that we saw a lot of minor key chord progressions. So for example, we had the progression that was in the key of G/E minor. That went from E minor to C add 9. So that was a nice minor sound. Or we had this. We had this chord progression here, which was another E minor progression. And we had the Long Tomorrow progression that I played earlier, which also was in the key of F sharp minor. So Toe really relies on a minor sound. I think that's part of what gives them that melancholic vibe, and also is what is kind of unique to them. Like you'll hear a lot of major key stuff in math rock, but Toe leans more on the minor sound, which is really cool. So once again, those are my takeaways. Hey folks, just want to say thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel more directly, you can check out my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you guys will have access to some bonus content like guitar tabs, lesson notes, chord diagrams, and things like that. Anyways, thank you again for watching. I appreciate it a lot. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.